Take a load off, traveller, and tell your story. You are now listening to Mackie.
Welcome, traveler. Passing through the gateway today is the man known to some as the Ashes of Creation community bard, Daedalus. Welcome, sir. Please introduce yourself for those viewers who have no idea who you are.
Sure. I am Daedalus. I've been with the Ashes of Creation community since right before the Kickstarter. I started out doing some article writing on the forums, interviews with different guilds and also different artists within the community. My material was supplied to me by Makinoji, but I did the articles and posted those on the forums. Started my own website as well as a YouTube channel. So I've kind of moved from a writing to more of a video route, and I'm learning as I go, but definitely having a ton of fun doing it.
What made you want to move from the column writing to the YouTube content creation?
Real good question. I honestly wanted to do something even more creative. I really enjoy writing. I've written, frankly, my entire life. Did a lot of gaming writing years ago, and I felt like the video medium was just kind of another way to reach people, another way to share my point of view, and frankly, another way to share my passion for Ashes of Creation.
Tell us about how you got started in gaming, what games you like to play, and why you were drawn to Ashes of Creation.
Okay, so I started gaming when I was very young. I often use the phrase I started gaming when portable computers were bigger than I was. And I would have to say, my first real games were focused on adventure. I really enjoyed exploration, adventure games. My first, I would say, online game was Diablo when it came out. So very long ago, longer than I care to admit. But my first real MMORPG was Ultima Online, and it really started a spark in me that really enjoyed adventuring in another world. And I kind of moved from MMO to MMO, just kind of continuing to build friendships and continue to build my love for gaming. And that's really kind of been a lot of my focus in terms of gaming. I do enjoy single player games too, RPGs mostly, fantasy, sci-fi, anything honestly with a good engaging story that kind of brings me in, I'm into. As far as Ashes of Creation started out, I frankly got lucky and it showed up, or a video about it showed up in my recommended YouTube videos.
Right.
And I just got into the Kickstarter like right before it started. I saw the video from Stephen Sharif and it hooked me. The concept hooked me, the passion hooked me, and the fact that this guy had no reservations in terms of making the game that he wanted to play. He wasn't bound by the corporate issues that we've been seeing lately in terms of just making games to make money. He was making a game to fulfill his passion, and I would say that's what initially drew me to Ashes of Creation. And a lot of the pillars of their design also kind of hooked me too, because it felt like it was going to be something extremely ambitious and extremely game changing, pardon the pun, and that it just felt like the right thing to do and the right place to invest my time as a gamer.
You hear that a lot throughout this community. They are totally behind what Steven is selling, pretty much, and it's a hope. That's the hope that the genre needs and that the community needs to reinvigorate it. What long-term goal do you have for your channel?
As far as long-term goals, I'd really like to kind of do a few things. My focus right now has been just getting some content out there just to get the word out about the game. But as we get more information, I really want to do more work around, theory crafting. I want to do a lot more around the creative aspect of the game. So I would like to feature the community artists, the community writers, the community musicians, and kind of have it be
Right.
a forum where, you know, people can share their ideas, thoughts, and inspirations on the game, but also have a way to approach the game and the mechanics and talk about them in a way that isn't necessarily like kind of a min-maxer video. There's been, you know, videos there, you know, there's been plenty of those out there for various games. I want to kind of look at it from more of a theory crafting route, but not so necessarily heavy on the min-maxing, more about the experience, about the stories that we create in the game, and just really, you know, focus on being a vehicle for myself, for members of the community to provide feedback to the developers. Because similar to, you know, one other game that I followed quite a lot, City of Heroes, I feel like this, you know, this team is really open to feedback, and I want it to, you know, my channel to be a constructive forum where that feedback can be provided, but also just, you know, a vehicle for me to just do what I love doing, which is talk about the game, kind of look at it in a light that's more of a storytelling, because frankly, that's, you know, what I think is most intriguing about the game is this story, the lore behind it really intrigues me. And I like a good story. So being able to tell a story and talk about, you know, different influences that the developers have had in making the game, and what comes to mind when I think of the game and when I think of the races, etc. It's just kind of having a vehicle to really tell my story and the community story in a way that is engaging for folks, and also at the same time, you know, share some information about, you know, what I think is really cool, where I think the game itself should go, not only from a character standpoint, but from a mechanic standpoint.
I want to piggyback on what you said about having a great story and just about lore. You are active in the role-playing community as well as I am. Tell me how important or how deep do you plan on delving into the RP in Ashes of Creation?
I'd have to say as deep as I could possibly go. I have been in many games where role-playing, unfortunately, has not been a priority for the player base. But
right.
when it has worked, it is some of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had in games. And that's single player with kind of multiplayer components and MMOs themselves. Just being able to really kind of, you know, immerse yourself in the lore. It's just something that's fascinating. And I think those stories, you know, are the ones that stick with you. I mean, yeah, it's great to kill a boss for the first time. And of course, you know, those stories are rewarding. And I don't want to minimize that for folks who really love those kind of achievements. But I think for me, it's connecting with other people and in a real way is what, to me, makes the story. And again, having, you know, a vehicle to be able to do that and having a good story that you can get excited about just makes that experience that much better.
Story is definitely important to myself and to a lot of other people, a small minority in the community. We're definitely looking forward to more of the story. But again, as Steven has made it very clear, he wants us to discover the story once we get into the game. So that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out for the RPers. Do you have any advice for some of the people who want to create for Ashes of Creation? Do you have any advice for them as far as kickstarting their channel?
I'd have to say, given my own experience, I actually created my channel in January. I did not start posting until last month. And so I can definitely sympathize with those content creators that, you know, are trying to get themselves kickstarted and get going. And my only advice is just sit down and do it. it does seem daunting at first. There's a lot to learn, but it's something that you're going to continue to work on and hone and
Right.
and just keep doing it. You can, if you need any evidence that it's a process, go find your favorite YouTube content creator and go scroll back to their very first videos.
Yeah.
Odds are those videos are gonna suck, right? And you're gonna wonder, why would I even follow this person to begin with? But I can tell you that gets better over time with practice. I mean, even myself, right, in just a few videos, I've seen improvements. And the other piece of advice I would say is, once you do start, is always ask for feedback, good, bad. At the end of the day, right, you're gonna learn from that. And that feedback, sometimes it might, not be, hey, you're doing a great job, but it might be, hey, can you change this? Or would you try this? Or, it's just something that you're doing that, people may or may not like. It just, take that feedback for what it is. It's feedback, and learn from it. And again, not every bit of feedback is a good gift, but it is a gift. And so, take it for what it's worth. Don't be discouraged if you do get feedback that you need to improve in certain areas. We all need it, but just keep moving forward. Your passion will come through. Just keep at it.
Once you get into the content creation, it's very addicting. For those who feel they can't or they might fail, just try it. Put out a video, get some feedback, negative, positive, take it for what it is, and then just roll with it. Just keep, like you said, keep moving forward. What class and what race do you plan on playing in Ashes of Creation, or do you have your sights set on any?
I was actually quite anxious about this question. And so just to put it in terms that I think most anyone that is as OCD as I am about creating your characters, I currently have a spreadsheet with 20 options.
You care to share?
Honestly, my top right now, what I think I'm gonna go with is probably a fighter cleric, but I am quite interested, of course, in the bard and bard variants. And though those are probably, I would say, my top two that I keep, going back and forth with. And unfortunately, they're the ones we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I have to say, the mage is also in my top three. See, even now, I can't even stick to like 1, 2. I'm adding another one. So yeah, trust me that I will work it out eventually. But right now, it's about 20 different options that I've got.
So is your playstyle more of, are you more of a support player, or are you more a DPS player, or are you more of a all-around, like, jack of all trades?
I would say I've always kind of gone back and forth between kind of a melee DPS and a support character. I think, most of my characters have been more along the lines of, I would say the majority of my gaming career in MMOs has been around melee. But I did have a couple of games, Dark Age of Camelot, City of Heroes, where I did play support CC type of characters. And I would say I was surprised at how much fun they were. So I'd say, those would be kind of the characters that I would gravitate to initially in Ashes of Creation. I have tried tanking and I have tried healing. I would have to say those aren't my favorite. I like a little less, stressful type of roles, just because I like, the ability to kind of, I feel like if I make a mistake as a support character or as a melee DPS, it's not as critical as if I'm the tank or I'm the healer. So not to say that I haven't, done those roles before, but I would say what I feel most comfortable at and have the most fun with is going to be like a DPS type of role, or a support role.
It takes a certain type of player to do a healing and a tank role. Most people just want to log in, do what they have to do, run a few dungeons, and not have to worry about carrying or essentially have all this weight on their shoulder. To each their own. You need a healer, I'll probably be there with you.
Awesome.
What are you looking forward to for Intrepid Studios to showcase more of?
Honestly, I think probably the biggest thing for me is more about the node system. Surprise, surprise. But also the classes and the character progression. I recently did a video on that.
Right.
But it also, as much as I knew from the community, from all the resources out there right now, I wanted to know more about how that will work. I mean, I think that's probably, again, the most exciting thing out there is those two topics, is how we can progress as characters, how we also will be interacting with the nodes and what impact those will have on the world, and how the world will be different on different servers. I mean, I think those two areas I'm most interested in. In character progression, I kind of have a pretty broad description of that, outside of just leveling the professions, the different social organizations, religions, all these, things that are going to contribute to making my character my own. I think, to me, that's the most exciting about this. And then how I can define my role in the world through interacting in the nodes. I think that, to me, is what I'm, let's say, most interested in.
What do you plan on doing first?
You mean after the 3 days I spent creating my characters?
Yeah, fast forward.
Honestly, I mean, I think, to me, it's gonna be exploration. I mean, I want to just start going in and just figuring out, what my place in the world is gonna be, and understanding, and experiencing the lore. I mean, I'm hoping we get a little more than we've got now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not under any delusions that Steven is going to reveal all. He's, like you said, he's said as much, that he wants the world to be discovered. And I really like that about the game, but I think it's just going to be just trying to explore as much as I can. And for once, I'm hoping that I don't worry about my level. I worry about, or not even worry, but that I enjoy the experience of leveling up and finding new things. I think, to me, my first step out in the world is just going to be trying to take it all in.
I really haven't found a game that I've had to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna grind until I reach max level. That was the mentality I was always in. Difficult to say I'm gonna do A so I can do B, and then it's really hard. There's so many choices. There's so much that's gonna need to be explored and discovered by the players. So it's gonna be a really, really daunting task to try to figure out where to start.
Yeah, and I think the one quote that sticks with me that the team had mentioned, Jeff, I think it was Jeff that said this. He said, and I'm paraphrasing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to us, end game is a dirty word, right? We don't want you to log in and think, okay, I need to get to 40, 50, whatever that max level is in order for the game to start. And to me, that was like, okay, finally. I want to be able to log in, do what I want to do, and it's not this huge rush to get to max level so that I can really start having fun.
Right.
And I know that's going to be a difficult thing to do. So that, above all, is, I think, what I'm most, encouraged by their vision of that. And I really hope they get the game to that point where they can execute that, because that, again, would be game changing.
The game should start as soon as you log in. I'm going to post this picture for those who are watching. It is some elven statue concept art that will be part of the university centerpiece that they displayed in that live stream. So for those of you who are listening and can't see it, I suggest you go and look at it. But I sent the link to you so you can go ahead and look at this. On the live stream, they asked the community to pick one of these statues to sort of be put into the place of this university. Looking at the picture, which one would you personally have picked?
Well, first of all, I'd like to fully say that this is a trap. Because I actually, when I made my recap video for the live stream, I was like, why are you going to make us choose? So you're making me choose. So I would have to say, for no other reason that we're in a university, I would assume that my choice would have to have something to do with that, and I would go with the elf that is holding the book.
Okay.
Or maybe the one with the staff. See, you're making me choose.
Mine would be the elven female with the bow.
I agree.
That stance is just powerful. Like I get you wanna walk into a university, their books. I get that. But there's something about the female elf with this bow that's so powerful. I'm just drawn to it above all the others.
Yeah, I can totally see that, which is why, once again, I say, why did you make me choose?
Well,
now I'm regretting it.
For those people listening, or who will listen, go ahead and leave a comment underneath this video, and the picture will be numbered when I post this. So just go ahead and put the number that you would choose and why you would choose it. We want to hear your thoughts on this. What stood out the most to you in that live stream?
I would say what stood out to me the most was the performance in the raid setting. I think personally for me, that above all, right, was the most exciting, because a lot of critics, I guess, of the game have really focused on the fact that, you know, we haven't really seen a lot of content in the game. And I think just being able to see that and the performance and really what they're working on, which at the end of the day, what they're working on is the stuff most developers, you know, don't really talk about. Right. Because it's not like the sexy stuff, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we did see a lot of great, you know, images. The talent on the team is right, absolutely phenomenal. But to me, that was the most impressive, and it's probably the thing that most people that, you know, are, you know, maybe part of the community or just hearing about the game aren't really gonna get, because a lot of times it's an afterthought in other development, development companies, because it's like, we got to optimize everything, right? And the fact that these guys are building this from the ground up and really wanting to make sure it performs well and it's going to scale well. I mean, this is just the first step in a journey through the Alpha Zero phase. That in and of itself was just proof that, you know, they're not messing around. They're starting with what really matters to gamers when they get in, because, you know, you can have the most beautiful game in the world with the most engaging content, and if you're stuck rubber banding or going at 2 FPS, it's over, right? You don't get that experience. So I think the fact that they're starting there, that to me was the most impressive. Obviously, you know, the art goes without saying. I think these guys, you know, are just, you know, a phenomenal team when it comes to creating really unique things. But to me, the most impressive is really just kind of coming back to those critics and saying, look, we're doing this, and here it is.
So one of those critics, a YouTuber personality named Fever, back in April, published a reply from the Ashes PAX East showing. He criticized the showcasing of the games as placeholders. The game had old assets. He also criticized Intrepid's failure to show how the world is dynamic and genre changing. After this video was posted, Steven came to the defense of the project. Paraphrasing, his long post, he pretty much just said the testing was going well, but they were unable to show the dynamic world building in such a small venue in such a short time. But he invited Fever to come and reach out to him personally to try to get him some hands-on experience with the game. So then fast forward, May 4th, live stream for Ashes airs. Right after that, Fever posted his reaction to the stream. He states, and I'm paraphrasing, that the game looks technically sound and that he would like to see more of the promised systems in motion. He praises Ashes' one-year email and also criticizes the announcement for the store updates in the same email and compares it to Star Citizen. In the same video, he posted his concerns about some of the Ashes of Creation community reactions, saying he has received policy complaints on many of his videos and death threats allegedly from some of the Ashes community members. He called them angry anime avatars and well-adjusted people. What are your thoughts on this subject? Positive, negative, and do you think he was wrong or right in any of his argument?
Well, I actually saw both of those videos pretty much shortly after they came out.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I think he has a right to his opinion. I'll flat out say, you know, if people are marking his videos as inappropriate or, you know, questioning them in any way, or threatening him, I mean, I don't condone that. I mean, I frankly disagreed with what he said.
Right.
You know, he obviously, you know, there's some fact behind it. We haven't seen a lot from the game, but again, I think what he's not really saying is that this game is in a pre-alpha state, right?
Right.
And I think that piece alone gives us a little bit, you know, of opportunity to pause and say, look, I mean, we're looking at a very open team who has been making very quick progress over a short period of time. And with any development of any game, you're not going to see the final stages or even the beginning stages of systems in a pre-alpha, right? When I was in City of Heroes pre-alpha, I mean, we literally had, you know, one instance we were running in the closed alpha that they had, right? And we could, you know, create some basic characters, right? In this case, you know, we're testing system performance. We're making sure, you know, a lot of that backbone is done before we really get into the mechanics. But at the end of the day, the team has gone from 12 to 70 people working on the game in a year. There's obviously things they can't share with us yet because they're not finished.
Right.
I mean, I agree, right? With any type of kickstarted game, they've kind of gotten a bad rap to say, well, they're taking people's money, right? And they're not really showing you anything. But I guess my thought is, at the end of the day, I mean, if you believe in a project, you're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And the other thing that I would say to him too is, Steven was very clear. If this game does not happen, everybody gets a refund.
Right. And
I have not seen any developer ever come out and say, I'm going to give you a refund if this doesn't work out, right? I mean, pretty much you're kind of stuck.
I think a lot of newcomers to the community missed that statement from Steven from very early on when he said, if this project, you know, does not go through, I will refund, because this is his passion project. This is his retirement project. This is his baby. So everything that he has pretty much is going into this project. And again, if it fails, he wants to make sure that the community that he created is also taken care of, even if the project doesn't come full circle.
I think that alone is enough for me to, you know, believe in the project. I mean, I pledged, and, you know, not only for myself, but for my wife in the project during Kickstarter. And I stand behind that pledge because I believe in the team. I believe in, you know, their focus and their vision. And, you know, I know it will be successful. And I think it's just going to take some time and patience to kind of get it over the line. But I think people have been surprised, and I think they will continue to be surprised at what this team can do. They just need to kind of get to those milestones, because I mean, I know how hard Steven works. Not only, you know, just from my own, you know, experience and kind of knowing how many hours a day he works on this game, just, you know, interacting with the community and hearing these things, but also, you know, my own guild leader who's been at the PAXs with the team and knows that Steven isn't sitting in, you know, a back room, you know, twiddling his thumbs. he's up on his feet 14, 16 hours a day. So is his team. So, you know, they're hungry for it, and, you know, they're not going to stop at anything less than their vision.
Our guild leader is Telkar of Sons of the Seven. He has been very active in the community, in the KS, in in both of the PAXs that they were at, and he has come to know the Intrepid Studios team very closely. So everything that Daedalus has just said is 100% fact. Ashes lately is the Daybreak rumor. I won't go into much detail about this because it's a mess and it's very weird to me, but Intrepid was caught up in this rumor, and Steven has since come out and said he cannot make any statements about what's happening. What are your thoughts, and what steps, if any, do you believe that Intrepid should be taking?
I would say, this project has been a a ride in terms of internet drama. I mean,
Yes.
There's definitely been a lot that came out at the start of the Kickstarter crowdfunding, and to now. I mean, I think there's always going to be people that like to stir the pot.
Yes, and drama in and out of the game. So.
Exactly, in and out of the game, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my thoughts on it, I mean, until I hear something official, I mean, I'm not really the kind of person that believes something that's unfounded, that doesn't have facts. I mean, some people try to connect the dots when there's no dots to connect to begin with, and they want to see conspiracies. I'm of the more fact-based versus rumor and speculation-based type of thinking. As far as what Intrepid did or did not do, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Daybreak did break up. There were probably people that were talented people that were part of that breakup. I think if I were Steven, I would definitely try to help who I thought would be a good asset to the team. And I'm more than, behind that type of action, because I've been in a situation where I've been laid off, and had I not had my network, I would have been out of a job for a long time. And so I think he would likely do what's best for his company. He came out and said just that. He goes, I'm not going to do anything that's going to compromise my principles. And frankly, reaching out to people that have been laid off and offering them a job, to me, isn't shady at all. It's business. And if you want talent, you're going to need to find talent. I don't think, frankly, I mean, me personally, just knowing what I know about acquisitions and mergers and all of that from what I do in my day job, it would have been, I think, a really foolhardy decision to invest in Daybreak and purchase that company. And I don't think Steven, if he's proven anything, he's proven he's a pretty smart guy, being a millionaire at in his 20s. I don't think he would do anything to compromise not only the financial solvence of his company, or do anything that would dilute his dream. I mean, as you said before, this is his passion project. I don't know of anyone, myself included, that is going to let anyone go ruin what I've built myself with my own bare hands, and bringing in the people that I know believe in the vision. So I guess my thought is what Intrepid, should be doing about this is exactly what they did. Bring out as much of the facts as they can talk about, right? Being respectful to the people that are part of that Daybreak situation. But at the end of the day, take care of their company and not worry about the drama queens that are out there, because they're always going to be there. That's the nature of the internet. Is some people are more bold and they make claims and look for conspiracies, right? And at the end of the day, I prefer that we stick to facts. And to date, right, ever since I've been a part of this project, I've never felt like Steven has done anything, in my opinion, that makes me think he is shady or would take shady action or would make decisions that weren't in the best interest of moving his dream forward and making this MMO succeed.
For all those drama queens, go ahead and leave your comment below about this subject. We want to hear what you have to say about it. All right, so we're going to start the segment of this podcast where I do some rapid fire questions. You have 3 seconds to answer each. Are you ready for this?
Not really, but let's do this.
All right. Number 1, the big cheek giant is also known as what?
The Lord of Salt.
Ding, ding, ding. You're correct. 2, there is only one Lord of the Dead in Ashes of Creation. Who is it? It's Nagash. I hope I said that right. 3, David Angel is better known as?
Ceremonin.
Yeah, ding, ding, you got it. Okay. 4, what Ashes race is best known for being the Forgotten?
The Tolnar.
Ding, 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 ding. 5, a plot of land where you build a dwelling in Ashes of Creation is called?
A freehold.
Yeah, all right, not bad. How do you think racial passives in Ashes of Creation should be approached?
I think one of the things that the team talked about before is it would allow someone to augment their class.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I like the idea of progression, and I don't like the implementation in other games where it's literally, okay, you get a racial, and it's one thing that you may or may not use, right? That
Right.
may or may not be useful. What I would really like to see is as you build reputation, like you would with a religion or a social organization, I'd like to see racials also be a path to progressing, so you get maybe different abilities, different effects to your skills. And I don't want it to be a one and done type of thing. I'd like it to be a path that you follow and can really, again, help your character be more customized.
So I hope, for the sake of the game's health, longevity, that they do have a path for passives to develop as you develop. All right, so I want to thank my special guest, Daedalus, for taking the time and participating in this project. You are welcome back anytime that you want to talk about anything Ashes. So for those curious to find you, where can they go?
Well, I have a few spots on the internet. You can hit up my website at ashenherald.com. My YouTube channel, you can just search for The Ashen Herald. Would appreciate like and subscribe if you like what you see. And you can also find me on Twitter at The Ashen Herald. And I post every new video there as well. So in case you missed the notification on YouTube, you can check out my Twitter for my random thoughts about Ashes of Creation and support the community through that. I try to retweet any other content creators that are connected with me so we can all kind of share the love that is Ashes.
Definitely, guys, go and check out his links. Check out everything that he does. It's really awesome work. I'm not even lying. And also, we're both part of the Sons of the Seven. If you guys are interested in joining the guild this early along in development, we'll have links to both Daedelus's content and also to the Sons of the Seven. You can check those links out in the description. And again, thank you guys for watching. And Daedalus, thank you again for being my guest.
Thank you. And I'd like to say one more thing before we sign off.
Sure.
We talked before about creating content and what motivated me really to start my channel in addition to my love for Ashes. And I would have to say, I have to thank my wife. She is an inspiration. And she actually was the one that literally put the boot on and said, you need to start doing this. It's something that you would love to do. Just get after it. So I just wanted to shout out to her. And let her know that I love her and that I appreciate all her support of my channel.
Go ahead and leave any comments that you have for us in the comment section, and we'll see you next time, okay? Hello.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfect. I had a lot of coffee, so I'm like hyper.
Yeah, I know. My wife is like, you need caffeine, so she literally made me coffee right before this. So I'm like, my skin is vibrating. So I'm good.
Well, I hope, like, Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, so for those of my viewers who don't know, please introduce yourself. And I fucked it up. Let's start it again.
All right.
Follow our links below for more content and subscribe.